No. Please don't infect me. Okay, we have built the diorama. We have added tons of little tiny details and skulls and spikes and big monster bones. We've painted the diorama. We've made a tree out of pipe cleaners. We've made bushes. We've added greenery. We've added a grave digger, birds, mushrooms. We've made roots for the tree. I've exploded tiny little foam bricks and very not that tiny real rocks all over my studio. But one thing that I haven't done is add leaves. The prompt today is crispy. And my thinking there, almost immediately from the beginning of deciding I wanted to do a diorama, was to make my own custom fall leaves for this diorama. I have used lots of leaves in the past, things like this that I'm pretty sure are just dyed birch seeds. These are fantastic. They look like fall leaves. They're a little big for the scale, although you don't really notice it. I've also made my own mix, but it's not like super custom or anything. It's just a mixture of those leaves that I showed you just a second ago. But today I'm gonna do something completely different for crispy. I'm going to get a bunch of materials and make my own leaves. Way over here on my shelf, I have a coffee grinder that has actually never been used before. It's a super cheap coffee grinder. And what I'm gonna do is grab a bunch of materials and grind them up and just see if I can make some leaves better than what I have been using, which is those dyed seeds. Like I said, they're a little big, but they really do the trick. But I do think I have so many materials that I don't use that often that ground up a little bit would actually maybe be better, just because they're a little bit smaller. Some of the ones that you can buy that are those dyed birch seeds are also a little bit bright. Like they look great in like by themselves in a vacuum, but then when you put them in dioramas, especially ones that are kind of grim and like desaturated and more realistic, they are extremely bright and sometimes can look a little like cartoony. Let's make some leaves. All right, got the coffee grinder, coconut fiber, very old parsley from my kitchen. Those other leaves that I had just mentioned that look fine, but I want to like blitz them up and maybe see if I like them when they're even smaller. The dead leaves that I put on top of the tree. Also got that weird lichen that I've tried to use in a few different episodes for moss and flocking the tree, and it just doesn't really work that well. I have some brown tissue paper. Not the best leaf color, but I want to blitz up a little bit of it and see what the texture looks like. I just have a feeling that it might look really nice. This paper with the bricks, not sure how this is gonna work. And I have some cardboard off to the side. I'm just gonna test it for fun, but I don't have high hopes about that. Let's do the coconut fiber. I don't know why I'm most excited about that. Oh, one more thing I forgot. Bought some fake fall leaves. Darker brownish that I actually think is gonna work really nice, and a few brighter ones. You know what? I'm actually gonna start with this because I'm excited about it. I wonder. I'm gonna grab a couple of the bright ones. It's like tearing like fabric would, so I'm not super hopeful. This is the results. It is just tearing the edges. I'm doing this test so you don't have to. First test, bust. I am pulling a total audible and I'm gonna blend up this pine cone, which was not on the list, but it was part of one of these bouquets and it's very brittle, which I think is gonna be a good thing. It's actually pretty difficult to break. But I do have high hopes that this might work really well. So I'm gonna keep trying. Okay, so I know I said this was worth it, but This is really annoying. All right, I'm gonna test this because this is getting very annoying. Okay, so it certainly looks a hell of a lot better than the fabric leaves, but I was blitzing it for quite a while. They're humongous chunks. I mean, still, like, it's definitely useful, like, ground cover material. This was the cheapest, literally the cheapest coffee grinder I could find. So part of me wonders if this coffee grinder just cannot do the job. But nevertheless, we trudge on. If you like coffee, I highly suggest the brand Cometeer for instant, really, really good coffee. This is not an ad, although Cometeer, I would absolutely love to be sponsored by you. They come in these little aluminum cups, and I like to just rinse them out. And now I have like a dozens of these in my office for just things like this. I will save this though, but I don't know if I would recommend this technique as like an overall technique. I have only used this the one time in that video from like a week ago. Just gonna put a bunch of this in the cup. Dang. All of my experiments so far have not been super successful. The noises that this is making, no. Dang, I was so hopeful that this was gonna work. Kinda cool. You need like a tumbleweed or something. Next, I'm gonna try the lichen. It's like not very solid. It's like these little strings. It's interesting. I think I could go a little longer, but that looks pretty good. It's definitely the best result so far. Let's go a little longer. This is the most successful so far. Again, it's a little bit more like stringy. Like it kind of maybe looks like hay or like wheat. I don't know what I thought I was gonna do with the parsley, by the way. I think I might just sprinkle on some parsley. That's already done. I'm gonna try the brick paper. I don't have high hopes. This is a good sheet. It's got some reds and browns and yellows. The backside is all red. Okay, no, I haven't fully blitzed it, but I can already tell it ain't gonna work. That just looks like shredded paper. In no world is this leaves. Tissue paper. No. I mean, man, it's so close. The problem is it's extremely lightweight, and I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but it's like fuzzy because it's a paper product. It's like finely shredded, but like, man, on camera it looks better, but the texture is weird. Like it's very light and fluffy, and I just feel like that's gonna be challenging to kind of make it look like leaves in the final. Okay, I'm gonna table this one. I'm gonna label this as mixed results. All right, I need a win. Gonna go in with, is this my last thing? With the dead vines that I used to flock the tree, the last of the dead vines. Yeah, like this already looks fantastic. This is the bit that has already fallen off the vines. Uh-oh. It has seemed to do the coconut fiber thing, but perhaps If I pull the vines out, yeah, what I'm left with is maybe not so bad. Sorry. Not in love with the little viney bits, but it does work. It doesn't like take you out of the immersion. Like it looks like dead earth. I want it to look more like leaves, but man, that looks so much like dead earth. So pretty happy with it. I do not have high hopes for cardboard. It's looking a lot like the tissue paper. But I just don't know if it's worth like continuing because it's fine. And the tissue paper I think is better. But we do have one more test. I am gonna take these leaves and blitz them up just because I think they're too big. And if they look really good, I might actually just blitz them all, but I'm just gonna do like half of the bottle to start. I mean, unsurprisingly, I feel that actually worked great. It also kind of dulled, I wouldn't say dulled the colors, but it muddied the colors, which I actually like. You know what, I like this so much, I am gonna add in this additional orangey color and a little bit more of the yellow and red just to make like a mix here. I do think that this is gonna work very nicely. This looks really good. It's a little disappointing that the material that was already leaves, fake leaves that is the one that worked because like, duh. Oh well. This is what the experimenting was for. So here's those fake leaves. I mean, it looks great, right? Alrighty. I've moved back over to my desk. Got the diorama right next to me. That's actually not relevant, but I just wanted to show you. I'm so close. This is so close to being done. I've got all of my materials here. Starting with the least successful, I mean, this is the coconut fiber debris, so I don't even know if I'm actually going to use that. Maybe some of this stuff in the very bottom. This, the dead leaves vines that I ground up, is very similar and is potentially better. It still has some of those coconut fiber vines. In fact, I'm gonna just gonna cheat. I'm ruining the sanctity of this test now by cross-contaminating. It's similar, it's got some of those vines, but it also has some of that cool dead leaf looking stuff in there. Then of course I have the pine cone, which I do like. It's just not very fine. Then we've got this, which I feel like I'm liking a little less now that I'm seeing it next to all the other things. But it is cool. Again, it's a cool ground cover. It's just a matter of, does it look like leaves? To which I would say, not really. But it is a nice texture. This is that lichen. But finally, we've got the really best result here, which is the birch seeds dyed and blitzed up. That, I mean, that is perfect. I mean, it's literally perfect. Oh, and I have my parsley still. I'm gonna siphon a little bit of this out, and I'm gonna just start making a mix right in here. Needs more orange and definitely needs some of the dead leaf vines. Pretty heavy with that. This already looks rad. This looks so good. I will add a little bit of the pine cone, just a little bit, to get some bigger pieces in there. I'm gonna just go full send and make a full mix of this with the rest of what I have. So a little bit more parsley. I am extremely happy with the results. That is just beautiful. Wow. Parsley is also a sleeper hit here. Like, it's not super noticeable, but it just adds one more color to this that you wouldn't have if I hadn't done that. This bright green diorama, looking nice, but it desperately needs some of these leaves. I think it will help marry all the bright color green I have everywhere with the dead tree, since this, you know, matches a lot of that. In fact, a lot of these are from this same material. I'm nervous because I love the way that the green looks. Nevertheless, I will be adding a lot of this to the diorama. But you will have to wait for tomorrow, the final episode, to see how I do this. And in case you didn't watch the full episode yesterday, I just wanted to give one more quick reminder that tomorrow's episode, the final episode, will not be my only upload for the day. Tomorrow afternoon, I will be posting a super special video completely unrelated to Junktober, but it's part of a very spooky and awesome collab that I'm honored to be a part of. That's all I'm going to tell you for now, but I'm really excited for that video. So I just figured I'd mention here. Thank you so much for watching the Junktober series. And yeah, stick around tomorrow for 2 uploads if you want to see this other mysterious video that I have been mentioning. It's going to be a really good one. Thank you so much for watching this series. If you've watched all of them, if you need to catch up, there's a link to the playlist down below. Tomorrow we will be finishing this up. I have to add the leaves. I have to add a couple more polish details. I have to paint the rim. I have a couple things planned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing and come back tomorrow for 2 videos, including the final conclusion of this Junktober series. This was a fun episode. I really like how these leaves came out.